Hey everyone, I'm Brian,
I'm Tyler.
and we're Gardener in Love.
Welcome to our YouTube channel! We're so excited, we're finally here.
Yay! So for the past year and a half, we have been on Instagram and on Facebook as Gardener in Love, and we have had so much fun there. And we've had so many people that follow us there reach out and just encourage us and ask us if we're ever going to start a YouTube channel. And here we are. We're so excited to be here.
So, to introduce ourselves to our new community, and
Yep.
hopefully some of our Instagram community is
Hopefully.
following us here, we thought we would do some Q&A. So we asked our Instagram followers yesterday, what do you want to know about us? And we have a list of questions we're going to go through.
Yeah, so here we go.
So first question, why did you start Gardener in Love?
So, like many people in the pandemic, I was laid off at the very beginning. I worked in TV production, and we were laid off, I think it was like the second week of the pandemic. And so it was kind of like a sad and depressing time for most of the world, really. We were all sort of in it together. And we had just moved into our house, I think a few months earlier, and so it was sort of a blank slate. And I thought, like, okay, well, I'll get out in the yard and garden, and that can be my like creative outlet and the place that I find my inspiration. And so I just got to it and started transforming our space and our garden and sort of taking it from just like a blank, I guess, yard and making it a garden. And so I think I posted a picture online on my personal Instagram page, and a friend commented and said, like, you should definitely start like your own gardening Instagram, which I'd never thought of before. But I did, and that's how Gardener in Love started, and now here we are, and we're just so lucky that we have this this creative outlet.
So this kind of goes along. So how did we get the name Gardener in Love?
I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so I consider myself a funny person. Brian doesn't like to laugh at my jokes, but then 5 minutes later he'll be like, that was really funny.
You got this.
So I was trying to come up with a name for the page for a while, and
Yeah.
I was trying to come up with something that was a pun. I really wanted a punny Instagram name.
Tried so hard.
And we just couldn't come up with one that we thought other people would get or that it would really work.
Yeah.
So we settled on Brian is a gardener and he is in love. I have since become a gardener and I am also in love. And we also thought that it could resonate with other people. Anyone can really be a gardener in love, and you could be in love with another person, you could be in love with your space, you could be in love with a certain kind of plant.
Well, yeah, I think it goes deeper than that too. I think it's like we want our page to sort of like emanate love and sort of like be that like source for people. I think it's sort of like a mantra for who we are, but it's also a mantra for our page. Okay, so the next question is, how long have you been together / engaged?
Yeah, so we did get engaged last year.
Yay!
We got engaged in New York in October, and some of our friends were there, which was really fun.
Yeah.
So we've been engaged since October. We started dating in December of 2018.
Yep.
And then made it official February 2019. So a little over 3 years now.
Yeah. All right, so the next question is, what do you do for work?
So I work for a tech company in global sales strategy.
And I work for a big box retailer in brand advertising. So mostly I make TV commercials.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into some gardening questions, which is the main event.
That's right.
First gardening question, how did you start gardening?
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. So I grew up as a sort of like a gardener's child, which I'm sure a lot of you did. My mom was a gardener, my grandma was a gardener. We were always outside in the yard. Like we woke up at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, and that's just what we did. We went out and pulled weeds or did whatever. And so we lived in Florida. I grew up on like a 2-acre property, and Mom had a huge butterfly garden. We had a fish pond. And it's just always been something that I've loved, and we love to go to like plant nurseries. I've done that my whole life. And so it's sort of like where I find joy and pleasure outside of work.
Yeah, so for me, my journey is a little different. So my grandpa actually had a big giant vegetable garden when we were growing up, and I grew up in North Carolina, so southern gardening is what I've always been around. And so he would grow like cucumbers, tomatoes, and I can remember my grandma bringing in like a big giant galvanized tub for all of the grandkids to help her snap green beans.
Oh my goodness.
And so that was kind of my experience. I think I was always curious as an adult.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really know where to get started.
And then I came along.
And then Brian came along, and then it kind of took off from there. But we were talking to my grandpa a few months ago, and apparently I have like a long line of gardening in my family. Like someone in my family, I think maybe my grandpa's cousin.
Yeah.
So very long line.
Yeah.
But he had a dahlia farm, and he used to take them into town and sell them.
Oh my
Which
goodness.
is really cool. Like I would love to see pictures of that. I bet
Wait.
it was really pretty.
We should inherit that business.
But you know, of course, the pictures would be in black and white, and that won't do me much good.
No
So-
dahlias. All right, so the next question is, who likes gardening more? What do you think?
You know, 2 years ago I would have definitely said you, but I
Me.
kind of think that it's me now.
It is you now. I think I've said that before in like a Q&A we did online, but I think that like I am the person who has always liked gardening, and so it sort of comes second nature to me. But I think when you started gardening and you got into it, you noticed this whole new world of like creativity and excitement about flowers and plants, annuals, perennials. You had so much to learn, and I feel like you've learned it all so fast. That's just the kind of person that you are. And now you're like a little expert teaching me everything. So
Well, I also feel like once you like get into gardening, like we would drive around town and I would be like, those were not there last year. Like those hydrangeas were not at that house last year. And Brian would be like,
yes,
yeah,
they were. I think
And
you just didn't notice them.
it's just like you just don't really pay attention. But I do think that we balance each other out with gardening, because
Yeah.
Brian is very like pie in the sky and has like all these big giant ideas. And then I'm more like regimented.
Yeah.
Like every morning I'll wake up and go like check on our seedlings and water
Yes.
them all. And then before we go to bed, I'll make sure they're all watered. And you kind of need both. Like I think people think that if they're not a certain type of person, they can't get into gardening, but it really can be for anyone.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What are your favorite flowers and or plants?
Good question. So for me, I think personally, I've always loved lamb's ears. There's like this
Oh.
this video of me from like years ago, walking just on a walk, and I was like petting the lamb's ears, and I've just always found them like super fun and beautiful and unique. And then flowers, I mean, I like all flowers, but I do really like verbena. I think that's one thing, like,
Oh.
whenever I see a picture of verbena, like tall verbena, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. I want like a big pot of that next year. So I like how like wild and like also kind of like sophisticated it is. It's
Yeah.
really pretty.
My favorite flower used to be hydrangeas, and it's not that I'm anti-hydrangea now. I would say that's like
Please don't say you're anti-hydrangea.
No, never. I would say that's number 2, but as I've discovered more plants and learned more, I think my favorite plant, or favorite flower, I should say, is delphinium. I really like I don't know, you get a lot of bang for your buck because they're so tall and it's just like covered in flowers.
Yeah, it's like a cone of just like color and beauty.
Yeah, and they come in all shades that I love,
Yeah.
so it's beautiful.
I would also say that you like foxgloves for the same exact reason.
Yeah.
You're a big foxglove delphinium fan, which is like really cool because my grandparents, my grandma and my great aunt were also like huge fans of those, and it's fun that we have them in our garden and my mom can come over and see them, so it's really cool. All right, so this next question's a really fun one. What is one thing that you cannot grow in your zone that you wish that you could?
Well, mine is a big one for me.
Yeah.
So I went to South Africa in 2019, and there they have these trees called jacarandas, which are purple.
Beautiful.
And I just happened to be there so I went in the fall, but they're on the other side of the world. So it was spring there, and the jacarandas were blooming, and they are so beautiful. The tree is like covered in blooms. Imagine like a Vitex tree on steroids.
Yeah, huge with like giant
Oh
blooms.
my gosh, they're so pretty. And of course, we're too far south.
Yeah.
It gets too hot here.
They do have them on the West Coast in
Yeah,
United
we've seen
States.
pictures of like in LA and stuff where they have them, and they're so pretty. Okay, what's your most exciting project this year?
An overarching thing for us that we have sort of been putting off, but we're super excited about is hardscapes. So we have like an area in our garden called the Union Garden, and we are planning on adding some gravel to that area and just sort of like firming up the hardscapes in our like more formal garden spaces. But that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was gonna say the Union Garden, so that's where I
Yeah.
have all my purple flowers.
The whole purple garden.
But I really want to get that space together because it's kind of like tucked away around like the side of our house.
Yeah, it's like a
and
secret garden.
I would like to be able to go over there and like work sometimes, or just go over there and like read or have coffee.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. All right, last question.
Aw.
How do you find garden inspiration?
Oh, I mean, shopping? Can I say shopping?
Absolutely.
I mean, I do find a lot of inspiration in just like perusing garden centers. I think I always have. I think garden center owners are like some of the most amazing people because they get to sort of like show their creativity through this space. And some are more formal, some are like just more like natural, like a retail center. But I think shopping is like a big way. We also were very inspired by theme parks last year when we went to a few
Oh,
of
good
them.
one.
So hopefully we're going to incorporate some like theme park style, like just mass planting this year.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that does it for the questions. We hope you guys enjoyed getting to know a little bit about us. But before we go, wouldn't be a garden video if we didn't plant something. So let's get to it. All right, everyone. So we're planting up this beautiful patio peach called Bonanza that we got a couple weeks ago. And the best part is that you don't have to put it in the ground. You can put it right in a container.
So this particular variety is super sweet. So not only can you like cook with it and bake with it, you can also eat the peaches right off of the tree. So here we go. All right, so we planted our first big container of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching our YouTube video. We're so excited to be here. Be sure that you like and subscribe so that you can stay tuned to all the content we have to offer.
And with that, let the season begin.
See you guys.
We'll see you next time.